Hello. Hello. My name is Shirley Self, and I'm here to talk astrology. And today I'm going to continue my discussion of the vision of William Butler Yeats, The Journey of the Soul. And I have come to moon phase 21. This is the triumph of the intellect. We're here in the air quarter. Let me tell you quickly how to find moon phase 21. It is the last 12 degrees, 54 minutes before the waning square of the sun and the moon. Or if you want to do it the hard way, the moon has separated from the sun 257 degrees to 270 degrees. Now the creative genius for moon phase 21 is subtract 154 degrees from the ascendant. And that will put it over here in the 7th, 8th house. And that means the body of fate down here in the 1st and 2nd house. Okay, so the triumph of the intellect. This is a social intellect. It's been building a social intellect since moon phase 18, 19 started doing that. 19 and 20. They've 19 and 20 explored the limits of power. Now that's intellectual power over other people. Rhetoric is one of their true talents. Perception is clear, inner clarity is their genius. Now, the only emotion left, should be left here to these people, is an imaginative, creative response to reality. Emotions are now an instinctive part of character. Remember, as you gain the experience and incorporate that into your understanding, that becomes next lifetime. You'll find that in your instinct. And these people are, so their emotional response, any emotional biases that they have are simply those habits that they need to purge. Because it leads them in the wrong direction. And these people are powerful people, and they need to be emotionally pure, not involved in the action, so that they can see clearly. They've got incredible, their mask over here is Gemini Aquarius. So clarity is a part of them. It's their mask. It is the way. Clarity and uninvolvement, emotional uninvolvement, is the way to success for these people. Their genius is their perception. If they look at the world technically, look over here at the technician, their body of fate is virtually has all of the earth signs represented: Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. So these people are technical geniuses. They look at the world technically. They live the life of the mind. Now, 19 and 20 conquered a piece of reality. They were specialists. They focused that energy, or should have focused that energy, into a very narrow focus of power. And it made them exceedingly effective. But here at moon phase 21, he wants to conquer the whole thing. He wants to develop a theory of everything. This in the life of the mind, the best relationship is the muse. A friend that you can argue with, right there. And that muse, you know, is over on the 7th house. The descendant. So, and they not only need the muse for intellectual give and take, sparring. They need grounding. They need a mate. They need good sex. These people float off into the ozone, and as Yeats said, they need sex. Because good sex is ecstasy, is what makes the muses sing. And the muses, as you know, are those inspirations that reside within us that cause us to do wonderful and fun and creative things. So these people need grounded. They need brought back into common sense. They need brought back into their senses quite often. And that's why they tend to be very interested in sex, because it's good for them. So their imagination is now in their instinct. It's not a territory to explore. I'm down here, and these people use the imagination as a territory to explore. And I'm right here, and trust me, my little old imagination is my preferred space. But these people are exploring in the minds of other people. They're not only looking for inspiration, but they're competing. They're sword fighting. They're sparring with ideas, and this sparring helps their mind to climb into the heights. It's a ladder of intellectual relationships that these people use to get to their own unique perspective. This has been an expansion, and this is the polishing of a unique knowledge. These people are leaders of group mind. Now, group mind is some specialized understanding that's starting to move through the times and changing it. I think group mind might have to do with septiles. Septiles are the division of the cycle by 7, and they refer to the pull of the future. New ideas that change the future, participating in transforming the culture, society, ideas, beliefs, attitudes. So we've come to, because the lunar mind has now perfected the will, the moon has perfected the will. And the intellect now, the will itself, is capable of comprehending spirit. That's next. Those lunar teachings are instinctive now. Emotion is invested in the instinctive imaginations. Anything emotional hanging on are just habits of thought, habits of desire, habits of attitude, and their clarity, which is very important to these people. Their clarity is dependent on their abandoning those habits, those emotional habits of gratification, self-gratification, attitude. Anyway, 19 and 20, that's what led them astray. If they did evil, it was because those old habits biased them, and self-centeredness, etc. And 21 has come to this rational conclusion that a straightforward honesty is the most efficient way to live in this world. This is an intellect of great complexity, and they yearn for an outer simplicity. They yearn for a simple and uncluttered life. Their persona is consistent. They don't change their clothes with the fashions. They are what they decided they were. They continue to be, because their mind is busy with other things rather than how my personality should be now, or how I should be appearing now, or what do I need to look like in order to be a success. They look like what they look like. They are unique. Nobody copies these people. They're not trendsetters. They're themselves. They're their own character. And after a moon phase 21, there's no greater perfection of character character is complete at 21. Their clear lens of experience, these people have gained the orb of dominion. You know, that's that round ball with the cross on top of it. The orb of dominion. And what that's referring to is power, solar power that upholds, holds up, supports life, the cross. So these people are teachers, philosophers, politicians, judges. They're lazy. All that energy that they've got is virtually going into their minds, and they need action. They need to have they need good sex, and they need to be out and take walks and to do something. They need to be active because they tend to be so sluggish that they will just quit. I'm president, now I can quit and don't have to do anything. Or I conquered that problem and now I don't want to. And they can, because their victories are so easy, these people pioneered power and these people got it. And they can pretty much, if they apply themselves, do what they want to do out in the world. But if they get content on just one accomplishment, if they get too lazy, if they lose their muse, or if they no longer get good sex, if they no longer can be brought down into common sense here, down into the senses, then they'll lose the passion in their life. And they'll start to envy those people who do live with passion in their lives. And because these people are dramatic, when they go angry and dramatic, almost like possession by the devil, seriously. But if they find their own life uninspired and dull, they'll devolve into sexual anarchy and calculated indiscretions. If they get bored, think Bill Clinton here. So, if they don't get inspired to be active, and if they don't embrace the adventure, adventure is their creative genius. This moon phase 9 is incredibly adventurous, curious, and wanting to try it all. And that needs to inspire these people to, you did that, now go find out what else you can do. If these people lose their sense of adventure, lose their contact with their creative genius, they'll simply adapt to what comes. They'll avoid new territory, and for them, new territory is intellectual territory. Their logical mind will become frustrated, and they will become haters. They'll become angry, anarchic haters. These habits of emotion will leave them feeling incomplete and deficient. Now understand, it's just habits of emotion that will throw moon phase 21 out of phase. Habits of gratification, habits of attitude. And these people are not nice. Like I say, when they let go, you run. It's almost like possession. So they can be indiscreet and treacherous. Even the ones who are in phase tend to be sexually adventurous, and these indiscretions are not spontaneous. They're planned out. They're, oh my God, I'm bored. What can I do to liven things up? And that's what they do to liven things up. In phase, even the in phase ones are adventurous. My husband is a moon phase 21, and fortunately met up with me, who I have a Pluto opposite the sun, so I appreciated adventures, and so he mated well, I think. I mated well too. He's a charming, wonderful man. He's a typical and a perfect moon phase 21. In phase. This analytical mind looks through, loves facts, collects facts, and does the Aquarian thing of putting them together in a way that helps them to rise above the facts and see the whole pattern of the thing. They're ethical, well, it's sexual adventuring, but ethical, and they have high standards. Moon phase 20 pioneered standards by breaking standards, and moon phase 21 has strong, high standards, ethical standards. So they refuse any activity that doesn't meet up with those standards. Self-appreciation is very important. This they get from moon phase 9, which is the belief in the self. Scorpio, know thyself. That's what Scorpio is about. It is sex, but that's because know thyself happens down there at the sex chakra. That's your power chakra. And that's where the power of the self resides. So you may think it's just sex, but it's not. It's more than that. So their self-appreciation is very important. And they need to accept the challenge of this incredibly complex and creative mind. And accept the isolation that happens, because this living in your mind is very isolating, very isolating. Live the life of the mind. So we've got here the card for moon phase 21, and its mask 7 here is death. Okay, death. That's a test of the strength of character. That skeleton there refers to the structure, the character of the person, the structure that has been built in the third quarter. Structure. And there are no higher authority. No higher authority. He's womped off the head off of the kings, the ayatollahs, whatever. And that is reference right there to Scorpio, the snake, the Kundalini that becomes the eagle. Mm-hmm. So what else? That's his authority over the self. He's wopped off the heads of any other authority. These people are after bliss. And that is, let me get a little more clarity here. Look at where death lies. It's Scorpio, and it's right between Venus and the sun. And that's ecstasy. That's ecstasy. I mean, you've heard of the little death. That's ecstasy of sex. Okay. So, fish. This is the fish. And that is it takes imagination to hook the fish. It takes imagination to hook the fish. Okay, so we've got, so the characteristic power has been perfected. The other card, the card of the mask, or not the mask, sorry, the creative genius in the body of fate, is the hermit of get off your high horse and get down there and do something. And that is, the hermit is also the hand. Where is the hermit dude right here? This is the hand. It's Virgo. It's work. It's virtually the hand of God. Notice it's connecting the sun and Jupiter. It's technique, courage. It's doing what you can for the world. It's doing what you can for the world. That the rod he carries is the kundalini, kind of like this guy. That's the kundalini. Okay. What else do I have? Okay. All right. Got some really cool moon phase 21s. Winston Churchill, Bill Clinton. Now, Hillary is a 12. But, you know, I've heard people talk about, well, why'd he marry her? Well, because she was his muse. She is his muse. She is his muse. He needs somebody who's as smart as himself. Not a Monica Lewinsky, but a Hillary. Somebody who's as smart as him to challenge him and to grow that brilliant mind. But we also have that sexual adventuring that that can definitely do them harm. And it's not easy for moon phase 21. They tend to be really upfront people, honest, straightforward people. Like number 7, they're a mask. Let me put this back up. They tend to be very ethical and honorable people. Like 7, their mask. And it's hard for them to lie. It's they don't do it very well. And it really puts them in a bind when they have to hide something. So their sexual indiscretions really need to be limited to those who want to partake and run off and do something stupid. But Bill, seriously. Anyway, Al Gore, a similar situation. Brilliant mind. I don't know anything about Sir Edmund Hillary except that he was busy climbing Mount Everest as Princess Elizabeth was turning into Queen Elizabeth. He dedicated his climb to her. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, a brilliant woman. Kurt Vonnegut. I love his books. You know, he was in Dresden during the Blitz. He was in Dresden during that terrible bombing. Barbara Walters. And here's another one. This is Albert Einstein. Now we'll let you peruse Albert Einstein while I have a sip of water. Okay. Albert Einstein. His information is born March 14th, 1879 at 10:48 a.m. in Ulm, U-L-M, Germany. Okay. So his ascendant is ruled by the moon, which is ruled by Jupiter, which is ruled by Saturn, which is ruled by Mars, which is not ruled, but is in mutual reception with Saturn. Is that lovely or what? And so his midheaven is ruled by Neptune, which is ruled by Mercury, which is ruled by Mars, which is, the Saturn conjunct the Mercury rule, and the Mars rules Mercury. So, I mean, this guy's very much Mars, Saturn, Mercury ruled. And the Mars is trine to Pluto, which helps enormously to deepen that, his passionate going after the theory of everything. The theory of everything. His pattern of the horoscope is it's a bucket, and that handle is down there in the 3rd house. It's Uranus in Virgo, in the 3rd house of the mind. Now, his sun is septile the North Node. His Venus is septile the Mercury, which is septile the Pluto. Did you get that? His Venus is septile the Mercury, which is septile the Pluto. Okay, and the Mars has got a biquintile, and the quintiles are just talents. So the Mars and the Uranus are biquintile, and that brilliant mind down there in the third house goes very well with his muse over there in the seventh house. And this, let me show you. This is his muse. Yep, got the right one. Yay. Okay, this is Melva Malik. She was older than he, but they collaborated on his theory of everything, on their theory of everything. She's got as many septiles as he does. So this is Melva. You probably heard of her, or not. They had a couple of children together. She's got that Pluto down there in the... She did not want to have children. Nope. But at the time, what were you going to do about it? And I guess it was probably hard to tell that sweet little Albert no. Anyway, he is her muse. And so she's got this fixed square, which is concerned with structure and meaning in life, in existence. And she was concerned with structure and meaning in physical existence. She was the physicist. Albert was the mathematician. Now, her ascendant is ruled by Jupiter, which is ruled by Mars, which is ruled by Neptune, which is ruled by Venus, which is ruled by Saturn. And her midheaven is ruled by Venus, which is ruled by Saturn. So this Saturn and the Venus are very important in this chart. Let's see what we've got. So her Mercury and ascendant are in conjunct Pluto, which is ruled by Venus, which is ruled by Saturn. That in conjunct is you have to work these two things together. Now, this is a light Mercury, but the in conjunct to Pluto demands that it go deep. Go deep. Her Gemini on the 6th and 7th house, she was a cripple. She was wounded in the hip. She's got the Sagittarius on the ascendant, and that in conjunct to the Pluto also indicates that wound to her hip. She has the Sagittarius Gemini on the ascendant descendant, and I said 2 marriages. Well, after I don't know that she ever married. I was told that she never married Albert because there evidently is no evidence of a divorce, even though they had 2 children. I have a lot of sympathy for this woman, being into women's liberation for most of my life. You see that on the right side of the chart, the right side of the midheaven IC line is just the moon and the outer planets. Now, those outer planets out there virtually tell her how she's going to run her life. The only thing she's got free there is that moon. And that moon's up there so close to the south node in Libra. And Albert had his Saturn and his Mercury there. And I don't think she could resist him. she didn't have a lot of, she was Saturn ruled, not Mars ruled. And her Mars was wounded. Notice that the Chiron, the Mars rules the Chiron, which is down there on the IC. And so that's kind of a wounding to her her independent nature, her Mars nature, her ability, you know. And so many women get wounded there, just denied their Mars nature, or give it up, not wanting to be a bitch. Anyway, her Mercury rules the her mask. Gemini rules is them on the descendant of the mask, and so she needed to talk. Notice she's got also the North Node down in the third house. So she needed a muse. He needed a muse. She needed a muse. She's got Neptune is septile to Mars, is septile to Venus. She's got a little round robin of septiles also. And I think that she's got the Jupiter opposite Pluto. I think that has a lot to do with physics. That and that fixed grand square that she's got. So her physics was the perfect specialty for her, the perfect way into her theory of everything. And so Melva and Albert built this theory of everything, and Albert, with his South Node in Leo in the second house, kindly gave her the money from his Nobel Prize, and decamped to greater and more wonderful and more heroic things, and left Melva with the children. And but he did give her the money for the prize. That was awfully kind of him. South Node, it was in the second house, so it might have hurt to do that. So that's what can be accomplished with a muse by these people up here. It's important for them to have good sex and a muse, and often that is not the same person. Sadly enough, in this restricted culture, you're not allowed to have a muse and a lover. They have to be the one and the same. Anyway, that's the dilemma of Moon Phase 21. Next time we will go on to Moon Phase 22, which is the beginning of the fire quarter. This is where the grail that has been built is going to be filled with spirit. So, and until then, I hope that the world is giving you what you want. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Hello. Hello.